Hey everyone, it's Michael and
Matt
and
Ruben
from Bullion Now, bullionnow.com.au, bringing you 1 hour early Friday.
We are.
Well,
Well, it depends on where you are, actually. We could be right on time.
Well,
How many parts of Australia?
only the East Coast.
Oh, okay. Well, if you're international, apologies.
You just missed the live
letting
stream.
you know, because we're early. We're late.
We're early.
And we totally forgot that,
We're an hour early.
that it was happening.
So we'll have to do we'll rehash the intro an hour in for
Yeah,
any
good idea.
stragglers.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll remind you of that.
Right in there with Morgeth at the moment. Double
What's that?
Jack and cigar. I'd really
Double Jack and cigar.
I could really go that right now.
Been getting serious. Been another week, then I take it.
It's just today. This week got so good.
Yeah, all right. That's an interesting term.
Like it's good. I mean, I'd be whinging like mad if we were dead quiet. Like, let's be honest. You know, as a business owner, the worst thing on earth is when it's dead quiet and there's nothing to do and there's nothing you can do about it. It's so insane that last night or yesterday afternoon, I phoned the wife and said, I'm in Melbourne. I'm staying the night. I'm just going to keep working through the night. I booked a hotel room and I just worked through the night. And it was just, oh, mate.
Yeah, see, and I think those complaints of that nature, I think you even as you're making the complaint, you know that it's falling on deaf ears. And anytime I make a complaint like that, I say it's not legitimate. There's no foundation to this, and it's self-inflicted. But I
and I'd rather it this way. Oh, look, don't get me wrong. I'm mentally and physically exhausted right now. So this could be the live stream where I stick both feet in it.
The best stream or the worst stream? Yeah, we'll wait and see.
But I'd rather this than the alternative.
Yeah.
You know, don't think I'm complaining that,
Yep.
I want it to change because it's good that it's busy. It just means we need to be better organised. We need, more people to join the staff.
Yeah.
We need bigger premises. We need more premises. All these types of things. So, but
that's a
certainly
good
we need to be more organised. We'll put it that way.
Well, what's the go with getting? And again, people probably watch this and think, Matt and Michael have structured this question, but this is legitimate. I'm actually just getting an update because we don't actually just knock about all day chit-chatting. This is the only time we actually talk.
I think this is the longest conversation, but it's only the second conversation I've had with you today.
There was talk of the expansion of the CBD storefront here.
Yes.
Is that still underway? Is there any progress on that?
There's no real... Sorry, my computer's having a hissy fit. There is no major update other than the fact that hopefully within the next few weeks we will take possession of said expansion.
Ooh,
we then have to do the expansion. So we're
that
still...
won't happen overnight,
It
sort of
will
thing.
not happen overnight.
Yeah.
And in fact, it may not happen this side of Christmas. I'm hoping
really?
it does, but I'm trying. Like, you got to remember, this is we're getting to the pointy end of the season. So we've got, we've end of the month. We've got Diwali coming up, which is we're busy anyway, as we've just kind of said.
Yeah.
But we've got Diwali coming up. We've got Black Friday coming up.
Yep.
You've got Christmas coming up. We've got a whole stack of releases coming into the end of the year. We saw Perth Mint release three separate series of coins this week.
Yep.
In fact, it was 4 because there was one that we...
4 Guardians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
people
we
asking
don't get
about.
access to. So, 4 releases just this week. And that's just the Perth Mint. That's never mind all the other mints around the world.
Yeah.
And that's it. We start moving towards the 2025s. They actually start this year, even though we're still in 2024.
Well, I've already seen the snake, 2025.
Well, that's
Yeah.
So,
and the elephant, the 2025 elephant's out.
So all the staples will start rolling through in 2025s.
We've placed orders for the 2025 Britannia and others.
Yeah.
So do people need to be keeping powder dry for all these then? Is that
I don't know. Like...
Because there is a lot coming in what feels like a very short period of time.
It's, like, I mean, how do you keep powder dry when it's just relentless?
When there's powder all over the room, all over your face, it's hard to keep track of powder at the moment. I think a lot of people are starting to face, powder management issues.
And then, like, I mean, goats. We haven't even
the
touched
Great
on what
Southern
goats
Land.
talking about. You know, Great Southern Land's coming out, so moving into the numismatic side. That's for all of us people with a slight bent that go for the numismatic side as well.
Yeah, unreal.
Like it's just the next few months are relentless.
Again, in a good and a bad way, though, because we like to complain about these things. But similarly, and I'm sure a lot of the viewers at the moment, if there were no releases at all, they'd be saying, "Well,
what the heck?
It's all dried up. What's going on? We need to get some fresh stuff out." So, and we know now that people from Perth Mint watch this, so don't take it and run with it and say, "All right, we'll put a hold on releases."
That's right.
Keep it coming. It's just hard to keep up with.
Yeah, so I don't even know where we were going with this conversation.
Yeah, what was the question?
Just talking about the crazy end of the year that lies ahead. Interesting question from Mark there. It says, hi to the three precious metals that represent Bullion Now. Michael representing platinum, Ruben representing gold, and Matt representing silver. What type of gold should I take on a trip to the US?
Type of gold?
Eagles, if you can get them. If you can lay your sticky fingers on them at a good price.
I was going to say, even if you've got to buy them here with GST beforehand.
Especially if you buy them here with GST, because you claim
exactly.
Going back through the airport, you can claim the GST back, so you've just saved yourself 10%, and you have no problem selling them when you get into the US. I'd look at taking sovereigns. They're another one if you can pick them up at a good price. Again, you get the GST back, but the US loves a good sovereign, so you'll have no problem shifting them in the US. What else would I take over there? Anything Perth Mint-ish, because you'll unload them very easily over there. Perth Mint's very, very popular. I wouldn't take eagles with you because they're like silver eagles or anything like that because they're a dime a dozen. Anything like that, gold eagle or sovereign or anything Perth Mint-ish, it is easy to move over there and quite sought after.
The question there about the physical stock of the wombats and the super pit, and I'll extend that to the nugget as well, the welcome nugget. When are we?
Next week we should see delivery of those.
Awesome.
We don't have them yet. And to answer Andrew and Kath, I'm hoping next week I am up there for at least a few hours.
Well, there's another follow-up question from them that I think is good as well. They say, Michael, the platinum to silver ratio is the lowest it's been in history for over 32 years, at 31, highest in 2006 at 150. If overweight silver, maybe consider swap silver for platinum. Comment?
So I have to claim a bias in this one because I've made no secret of the fact that I prefer platinum over silver. And I'm not saying silver's a bad buy. I'm not saying I don't have silver in my stack because I absolutely do, and I'm still buying it. But I am favouring platinum over silver because, for many reasons actually. Every argument you've got for silver. I just had this discussion in the corridor. Just as I was coming in.
Now you're having it with a couple of hundred people all at once.
Every argument you've got for silver carries for platinum and more. But there's also other things for platinum as well, not least of all being that the platinum ratio, when you're comparing it to gold or silver, is actually quite low at the moment. So I would definitely, if I was looking at unloading silver, I would certainly be picking up platinum. Or if I was sitting there going, should I buy platinum or silver, I would buy more platinum than I would silver. But that's just me. It has the one advantage that we don't talk about a lot is also the fact that what some people will see as a negative for it, it's dearer than silver, which, you kind of go, your back pocket goes, well, hang on, I could buy $1,500 I've got in my hand. I could buy, really rough numbers here, I could buy an ounce of platinum, or I could buy a kilo of silver. Oh, I'd rather get a kilo of silver. That really works until you've got to carry it down the street, or you're trying to store it, or anything along those sort of lines, where you'd actually much rather only have an ounce in your pocket rather than having to lug around kilos. So I think platinum has more going for it in a lot of ways. The one negative it does have, and you need to be honest about this, two negatives. Premiums are always higher on platinum because it's a mongrel metal to work with. It's a mongrel metal to find and refine and all those types of things. It really is hard work. So you're always going to pay a much higher premium for something like platinum. The other thing is platinum starts to get a bit more nichey. You can't walk into any bullion dealer. You can't walk into, you certainly can't at Bullion Now, but some bullion dealers won't deal in platinum, and they certainly won't give you the buyback prices for them in platinum. We still do spot for platinum when we're buying it back. you'll find it's more difficult to sell into the secondary market because not so many people are after it. So you've got those it's not all positives. There are some negatives, and silver certainly wins over if you're going to carry those arguments there.
I think also design-wise, you have a significant limitation if you are perhaps of the inclination, like myself, is to appreciate the finer things, such as the artistry on coins. And we've actually got some here that we'll highlight, and you'll see what I mean. Some of those older koalas, they don't knock my socks off in terms of the artistry. And I wonder if that's perhaps due to the hardness of the metal to work with. Maybe they tried to simplify the dyes, so they're not trying to get as much detail in them. But then we have the snakes, where the modern stuff looks great.
Well, I would argue that if you're comparing modern... let's pick on Perth Mint here. If you're looking at the modern Perth Mint, so the last few years designs, and then comparing them in any metal to designs from the 90s, I would say they all lack a bit of je ne sais quoi.
Wow! All right, it was a fancy stream today.
A bit of, it's like I said, I'm way overtired. So I would say any of the. While I like the designs for the from the 80s, 90s, and into the 2000s.
Yep.
I don't think they have the detail and the je ne sais quoi.
You're right. Yeah.
Behind them. So I think it's unfair to say, I don't like the old platinums compared to the new design, because some of the old silver and gold were pretty daggy too back in the day.
Yeah, that's true. And I think that is something that's nice to see, that there is so much more emphasis on that type of thing now. And you have people, again, like myself, that really look carefully and appreciate the artistry that goes into some of these designs. But yeah, I think you've got a lot more... Well, I think the reality is you've got a lot more variety with both silver and gold in terms of if you're wanting to collect a certain theme or something like that. Whereas with platinum, it is comparatively a bit more stripped back. Although we're starting to see that change a little with the fractional koalas and things like that. So it's... Yeah, I think you're right. I think there is... I'm speaking purely from an artistic standpoint. I think there is room for a bit of excitement in the platinum arena. Yeah. Like we saw the completer. Remember we had platinum completers. That was pretty cool. So,
but platinum is a harder metal to work with. So there is probably a degree of truth there as well. And look, I should probably apologise to any French-speaking person for the previous statements because they were way off.
After my New Zealand place name pronunciations from last week, I think you're fine.
Yeah, it's not a stream if we haven't offended someone.
Exactly. It's a fairly interesting even split there on the poll around there about if people would do that ratio swap fairly evenly 50-50.
Yeah, near enough to. And that's probably it's probably what I expected. In fact, I probably expected platinum to be a little bit less than that if I was completely honest.
Well, that's it. I would too. And I think part of that is the fact that you are I don't want to say the champion for platinum, but you do talk about it a bit. And I think it has opened it as a possibility to a few of our viewers, even if it was something they hadn't considered earlier.
Goat's touching on something there that I wanted to actually bring in a sample of. We've got them in the shop, and if someone's listening, I'd love somebody to grab them. I probably can't explain where they are, but we've actually had some buybacks in this week, or in the last week or two, and I'll try and grab them at some point. But for those that aren't aware, the early series kookaburras and things like that from the Perth Mint came in a square capsule. And they were the original ones. And they had issues in that they weren't airtight. So you'll find 99.9% of the older, so I'm talking the early to mid-90s, even into the early 2000s, I think, you'll see that they'll be toned. Particularly the silver has massive rim toning on them. But they were a really cool capsule because they were stuck together. So you'd get sheets of coins, whether they be gold or silver in various sizes, and you kind of clicked off however many you needed, whether you wanted one or a sheet of 10 or whatever. Exactly like that.
There you go.
So they're the old ones. Now, back in the day when these were produced, they still had a mintage limit, but Perth Mint didn't get anywhere near the mintage limits. Where the mintage might be 300,000, they might only produce 120,000 for the year or 130,000. And 1990, but all the subsequent years up until 2000 and something or other, probably 2011, 2012, somewhere like that, where the series started getting very popular and they started hitting their mintage limits. Some of these older coins would garner a very significant premium because there was only 100,000 of them produced that year. So they were seen as very, very limited production ones. Around that 2000, I can't remember the exact year, I should have looked it up before I came online, but that 2011, 2012, 2013, Perth Mint got this fantastic idea that they'd go back and they'd fill in all these previous mintages, because they'd say, well, we said we'd do a maximum mintage of 300,000. We only produced 120 at the time. So we're going to remint all this extra 180,000 coins. Well, all hell broke loose.
And they would have thought, we're doing the community a favour. That's right. They'll love it.
Well, I mean, everyone was screaming out for more Perth Mint, 1 ounce coins, and it's not fair. You're not producing enough. So they did. You're exactly right. Yeah. They tried to meet the community, and the community had a meltdown over it, because I've just paid $80 for, and this, you got to remember, silver was probably $20 an ounce at this point.
Yeah,
I've just paid $80 for this 1992 Kookaburra, and now you've just minted a whole 100 and something thousand more of them, but the difference between the two is the older ones came in the square capsule and the newer ones came in the round capsule.
Oh,
so
okay,
you will actually
did that.
Yeah, you'll actually see some, and we've got some in store at the moment where they are perfect copies because I've used the same dies.
Yep.
Perfect copies of the 1992, but they come in a round capsule instead of a square capsule.
Oh, there you go.
In the airtight, so they don't tone. And it was interesting at that time, and it shows how emotive stackers and collectors are, because when that all happened, everyone dumped their kookaburras. They just walked away, said, I'm never going to have any of these again. I'm never going to do the collection again if they're going to play that game. And look, to Perth Mint's credit, they recognised the error fairly quickly, and they said, look, we apologise to the community. We won't do that again. We recognise this.
They would have already produced them and it would have been done and gone, and then they would have seen the reaction and gone, that's not happening again.
But look, to their credit, they... effectively, Stephen, you're correct. So the round capsules are the restrikes. But to their credit, they came out and they said, look, we won't do it again. We apologise for that. That was an error on our side. And so people were dumping these things. So we were buying these things. Look, previously, we'd been paying $70 and $80 for. We were buying them at spot.
Yeah.
And so I was buying these things hand over fist because I love the old cooks and I love the square capsules and, the whole box and dice. So I was buying these things like they were going out of fashion. And about 6 to 8 months later, everyone kind of forgot about it and went...
Leveled out again.
That's right. We want them back. So we were selling them again for like $60 to $80 6 to 12 months later. It was the best money spinner I've ever come across.
Stephen asking there if they did it for the larger size cooks as well, the 10 ounce and the kilo and things like that.
No.
So... Yeah, because I think the photo I threw up was a 2 ounce back when they used to do those as a
I think that was
a regular item.
I mean, you got to remember we're talking 30-something years ago. I think the 2 ounce was the largest they did in the square capsule, but they did somewhere, and I've lost them fairly recently. They'll be on my desk somewhere, but I've got a sheet of old 1/10 kangaroos in square capsules.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
cool.
In fact, I got a few sheets of them. Somebody sold them back, and I went,
yeah.
I pulled them aside to show on a live stream and lost them on my desk. So they will turn up eventually.
Absorbed by the desk.
That's right. We will show them eventually, but they're somewhere on my desk. I don't know where.
There is a email question. At least there's a couple of them, but there was one that Sarah was in chat asking about before if I'd received. So I want to kick off with that one. She says, I've been recently looking at your website and was wondering a few things. Firstly, do you ever sell buybacks as new products? I have seen that a few different items are from a few years ago and was wondering if they are buybacks from people. I'll end it there and then kick off with part 2 of a similar question after that.
So the short answer is sometimes, and this causes a lot of... Yeah, Stephen, you're exactly right. My desk is the bullion black hole. One day it'll just fall through the floor because of the weight on it. This always causes really heated discussion in the back rooms as to whether, how do we sell these things? We get stock in that might be only weeks old, and people sell it back, or it might be a few years old and it's in brand new condition. So the question is, do we sell it as brand new? Do we sell it as buybacks? A lot of it goes in as buybacks. Sometimes if there's a lot of them, like someone sells back, I'm making stuff up now, but let's say, for example, somebody sold back. I was going to use mice, but that's a bad example because we've just imported all those Lunars, Series 2 Lunars.
Which other people are also asking questions about.
We'll come to that in a second. So give me an older coin, something popular. Moon landing. Somebody trades in a box. So 200, it's only 100 in a box. 100 moon landings from 2019.
Yep.
And they're all in brand spanking new condition. Do we sell those as buybacks, or do we sell them as even if we don't increase the price, although usually we have to increase it a bit because we've had to spend staff time looking them up and making sure they're all, Mickey Mouse and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So do we just throw them into the general bucket so no one actually gets them, or do we isolate them out and sell them as new? And I'll use that in quote marks because we don't necessarily sell them as new. Most
new
times
old stock,
new. Usually I'll put some comment on there to show that it's that they are a buyback of some kind. But we isolate them out, and that way people can actually go, oh, wow, I want the 2019 moon landing because I missed out. I need it for my collection.
Yeah. All
those types of stuff, rather than it going into a lucky dip where people, that don't necessarily appreciate the fact that it's a 2019 moon landing, they didn't care what they got. And that's, I don't know, am I making sense here? That's kind of when we try to pull them out and say, okay, well, these are a buyback, but they're a special buyback, and we want to isolate them out and sell them so people can actually get the pick of it if they want. And then if people don't want them, we can then just roll them straight into the buybacks and they can go into the general mix.
I think it's one of those topics that some people will be really, really happy about a certain solution to one of it. Obviously, if you're able to just stroll through and get something really, really cool in buybacks, people are happy with that.
Yeah.
Other people will look at it from the other point of view of, I love being able to specify and know that I'm getting a specific product. Morgoth there says sell them as new as if new still, dealer perks, and so I think it's almost one of those ones of no matter what you do, some people aren't going to be happy with it, but the idea is to be as transparent as possible about it, and the fact that they can ask, hey, what are you doing with them, and we can get on here on live stream and say, this is the process, this is how it works, this is why we do it the way we are.
My interpretation of the question, and this might be like I'm just sort of interpreting it myself, my concern would be from a collector's perspective is, am I going to buy something from the Bullion Now website and it's going to turn up all scuffed because it's been knocking around in the buyback bucket and it's been plucked out as, oh, that's an interesting one, we'll chuck it up as brand new. That would be what the question was getting at, it's not new old stock. Is it actually just plucked out? It's been rattling around.
It's a version of a moon landing, but it looks like it's been to the moon and back.
It crash landed back to Earth.
Look, at the end of the day, it's not worth. This sounds terrible. Okay, so don't run too hard with this. It's not worth me paying staff time to find a 2019 out of the buyback, assess it, and then list one coin on the web as a 2019
and to get another $4 out of it.
Well, even if we got $15 out of it,
yeah.
By the time I've paid all that staff time and hassle and the stuff that they could be doing instead of that, it's just
make the skew, move it from that skew.
And we get the wrong skew, or we upset something, so now the count's out. So now we're auditing half the back end of the shop because of one stupid coin that's appeared in the wrong area.
And then it's been sold in the shop the whole time you were doing that.
and I've listed it online and it's sold online as well. So now I've got to buy I've got to hunt down one from a collector and pay 5 times the flaming price to try and get it to sell. It's not worth it. So you will still get the 29, in this example we're playing around with. It's like if 1 or 2 came in, they just go straight in the buyback bucket. It's not worth our time and effort. So you're still going to get those things into the buybacks. But it's only where, like I said, somebody sells back a whole stack and now it's worthwhile to actually advertise it to the collector side of the stacking community to say, hey, look, we've got these. If somebody needs it to complete their collection, grab one while you can. If we don't sell them in a week or so, bung them into the buybacks and away they go.
I want to come to the part 2 of that question soon, but there's a really interesting idea from Drogue there. You should have a buyback cabinet with a live camera in the Melbourne store and have an option to buy the coins in image on website. Can you imagine how cool that would be?
No.
I'm hearing. I can actually hear a headache.
You guys are both coming at this from the shop point of view, and you've got the experience there to go. But I'm coming at it from the tech. How cool would that be? Just like, that coin there, that one's mine. I'll take that, please.
We have stopped. we used to actually list, we've got in a bar, like a collector bar or an older coin, or that's because some of the stuff we get in is really cool. In buybacks, and you really don't want to just lump it in a buyback. You want it to actually go to someone who's going to love it and cherish it.
Appreciate it, yeah.
Yeah, like bring it out every week and show the family and, pat it. A good home for it. But the trouble is you say, we've got I don't know, make something up, whatever it is, this bar in or this coin in. And we'll get 4,000 emails saying, but can you take a photo of it from the left side? Can you take a photo of it on the right side with this kind of light? I need to, And then finally someone buys it and it turns up and they go, but you didn't tell me it's got this microscopic mark on the left bit. And it's like, you've got to be kidding. Just melt the flaming thing. I don't care anymore.
All right, I'm going to move on to part 2 of the question.
Right. Wow, that was only part 1.
Yeah, sorry.
Good luck if anyone else has any questions.
Nah, this one should be fairly fast. Is there a way we are able to pre-order buyback products? I'm looking at getting some, and they don't often seem to be in stock on the website.
Look, my official answer to this is no, not currently. We're trying to move towards something like that, but currently we don't because again, it takes. We're not a coin collector store. We're not a numismatic store. If somebody wants let's come up with something, a 2015 Kookaburra. Okay, they put in a request for a 2015 Kookaburra. We get someone that sells it. Like we've had a guy that sold in 2,000 ounces of 1 ounce coins this week. Now, I'm not going to pay someone to search through that just in case there's a 2015 Kookaburra in it. And I'll guarantee you, we throw them all into the buybacks. They sell in the buyback. The person who's after the 2015 Kookaburra, I'll guarantee you, his mate gets the 2015 out of the buyback, and he'll say to him, look what I got. I bought a buyback from Bullion Now, and they sent me a 2015 Kookaburra. And all of a sudden, I open my email in the morning to a 4-page abusive dissertation of how I had that on order with you guys for the last 6 months, and you gave it in the buybacks to my mate.
It was on a sticky note under the desk.
So the short answer is we don't do it. The honest answer, though, is if people are in the store and they say, look, I love the old Kookaburras, I guarantee, because the guys try their level best to do the to provide that customer service, that level of customer service. And I'll guarantee you, because I know out in the back room there is a wall that is covered in Post-it notes from Brett that have got...
and he absolutely gives it his all.
That's
I'd take my hat off to that level of...
Bill Smith is after a 1921 blah, blah, blah. And
Springer mentioning there, I'm still waiting for Oscar to find me horse coins. It will be on that wall.
I'll guarantee it's on the wall.
Sort of like Michael's desk. There's a bit going on that wall.
Oh, dear. People are after updates, Michael. Pakenham.
Yeah, what gives? You worked out how to open the gate.
We did.
What next?
Jeez, that was a drama. Now we're just trying to work on getting tradies to turn up when they say they're going to turn up.
That's the other aspect, and that's to drag us back to the expansion of the CBD store. That's the other thing you're going to have to do. Leading into Christmas, trying to get trades locked in. Yeah, good luck. So back to Pakenham.
Pakenham's coming along well, but it's coming along slowly.
Yep.
We will get there. I'm still aiming for the end of the month to be able to have it open to the public. Admittedly, we might be on card tables and cardboard boxes.
Yep.
But I'm hoping that the end of the month...
With still high security, just to clarify.
That's what we're waiting on is that the finalisation of security and vaults and that sort of stuff. So nothing will happen. Even if we don't open until next year, it will not open until that's all been signed off. But yeah, like I said, it may not look pretty. I've actually had someone out there weeding the garden this week because the weeds are now this high because we've ignored them for the last month. But yeah, so we're starting to get ready. We're still aiming for the end of the month. It may drag into November, but it will be open soonish.
I think we take a look at one of the boxes on the desk. It's up to you there, Michael, which one you want to grab. There's 2 different types of wooden box you can grab. Which do you want to start with?
Start off with the one that's
I think it's an interesting one.
This was actually a gift from a customer this afternoon.
Oh, wow.
Came in from Sydney. Ex-military gentleman and family.
Wow.
The whole family came in, from what I believe. And he's made this for me. He dealt with explosives in the Air Force. So he's actually...
Sorry, can we just highlight the little Bullion Now logo on the front there? I think that's so cool. Have you seen it in front?
What?
Where you looking, mate?
Tilt it towards
Under?
you.
Oh, the underneath.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about up here.
No.
I didn't say
No,
that.
Yeah, I missed it as well. Yeah, cool.
So what this is the det cord from around the ejection seat,
Oh, wow.
which has a silver coating around it
Oh,
to
wow,
protect
unreal.
it. So it's a bit of a history and a bit of a burst in there, and you can see the silver sheath inside there. And this, I believe, I may stand corrected. No, I always get this the wrong way around. I may stand corrected, but I think it's either off an F18 or an F111, and I'm not sure which one it was. It may even tell me in there.
Yeah, F111.
It's off the F111.
Yep.
Yeah, so I thought that was incredibly cool.
That is very cool.
Mixes-
That's very well presented.
Both my loves, so of silver and of
Yeah.
aviation. So it didn't take us long to get
I was
off.
going to
so-
say, this
precious
wasn't
metals.
even your, it wasn't your doing this time.
So really, really appreciate it. It was an incredibly thoughtful gift, and
Yeah.
it will go straight to the pool room,
Yeah,
as
nice.
they say in the classics.
Very cool.
So for all our international viewers, you need to watch The Castle, and then that will
Yeah,
make sense.
give you the full Australian rundown.
That's the one. Yeah, so it's just like, I mean, this is incredibly, incredibly cool, but it just shows where silver's used,
Yeah,
where you don't kind of think about it, in
Yeah.
ejection seats, for crying out loud.
that would not, when we talk about all the applications for silver, that would probably not fall into my top 10 off the top of my head.
Yeah,
It's very cool.
it's amazingly cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I mean, people think just of an ejection seat, but you got to remember some of these aircraft, it's not just the seat that blows out, it's actually part of the aircraft, like part of the cockpit will actually blow out in some
really?
aircraft and things like that. Yeah, so there can be quite a lot of silver involved in it.
Well, and this may be a silly question for those that are not aviation experts like myself, but when you've got a full parachute baked in there as well,
Can do.
well, surely
or
you're
a
not just
couple.
blasting yourself out of a plane.
No. Usually
Crossing your fingers, hoping for the
there is
best.
a parachute involved somewhere in that transaction.
Oh, okay. So there are instances where you would have to parachute up first before.
Well, at some
hit the
aircraft you
ejection.
actually wear the parachute. We're talking older aircraft now,
yeah.
but most of them are actually built into the seat. Like,
Ah.
I actually can't think of any off the top of my head of modern aircraft that aren't built into the seat.
Yep.
Someone in the chat will correct me, I have no doubt,
Yep.
but I can't think of any off the top of my head.
Ah, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, the more you know. Interesting. We need to come up with an extensive list of all unexpected applications for silver. There's a fun video. That's a video right there, Ruben.
What's the most unusual thing that you can think of or know of that has silver in it, around it, or contained somewhere?
So far, we've cord. Ejection
Ejection
cord.
seats,
Yeah.
Caught around ejection seats.
Yeah, there might be some of that goes. Desi, he's exaggerating it, but yeah, one of the other common ones is Tomahawk missiles. So please don't send us in any Tomahawk missiles.
Oh, we weren't asking for samples.
I'm just, if we're continuing on from the, the chord here, let's.
Although, if anyone wants to make up a nice wooden box with a tomahawk in it,
Yeah.
I'd consider
Something out of the ordinary. Yeah, we'll showcase it.
it. Good stuff.
The other question that a few people have been asking about is, as we alluded to before, the Lunar Series 2s. And please don't just say next week. I think people want to know why it hasn't.
There's only so many weeks that can be next week before it hits.
I don't know how to answer this any other way. I should have grabbed ads before I jumped on live stream because we've been talking about releasing it this weekend. We were going to release it today.
Oh, so you've already filmed it. What are you waiting
it's
for?
all it's all
Release it
good.
now.
Well,
End of the
no,
stream. It's going to be up. Boom.
The problem with releasing it now is that people will, they'll buy it tonight on the web and they'll turn up tomorrow in store to pick it up and it won't be picked. It won't be ready for them to pick up. So the guys in the shop are going to have to be racing back and forth into the vault to pick one 2020 mouse. So
it sounds like we're talking about a Brett problem.
we're absolutely talking about a Brett problem, but a Brett problem on Saturday becomes a Michael problem on a Monday.
And then by Friday, Michael's in tears for the live stream.
right.
Okay.
That is
So
fascinating.
we're holding off till after the shop closes on Saturday, and we
Okay,
will
so
probably
Saturday
release it.
night.
We'll probably release it sometime around there.
The video's about done, but I'm going to have to
So
coordinate
Ruben
that as
hasn't even
well.
finished the
All right,
video.
so it may be Ruben's fault that we don't release it this weekend.
I'm happy to cop that. But yeah, long story short, it's the time dedicated to it.
Keep an eye. Look, there are a few that we will sell out fairly quickly on there because there's only a few in there, but we're not going to, the vast majority of it, we won't sell out instantaneously. So keep an eye out on YouTube. You will see the YouTube released at very similar time to when they're released on the website. So it'll be sometime within the next 3 or 4 days.
Cool.
We had an email from our man in Japan
Jamie.
who wanted to look at some of the pieces he's been finding over there.
Oh, nice.
And I'm going to be completely honest, pretty much all of those go over my head. I do not, it is not an area of either numismatics or general stacking or, bullion that I am familiar with at all. But I think it looks really cool.
Yeah, lots of shoes and booze. That's like the denomination.
Yeah, okay.
There you go. You're more up with it than I am.
I was going to say, yeah. So are you at all familiar with it, Matt? Or?
Yeah, those the ones on the
Sorry, I've cut you off.
Such
Do you
a
need me
bad
to bring it back?
explanation. In the left-hand side of the right-hand side.
No, yeah, that makes sense.
I think they're called the gold variety of that. I think it's called. I'm going to stand corrected, like a Coban or something like that. I could be way off the mark, but a tidbit that possibly only Ruben and I will appreciate, unless we have any younger crowd in the chat, is the same coin that appears on Meowth's head, the Pokemon. That is actually an old Japanese coin on a character.
Pokemon.
You know Team Rocket, the villains?
Meowth,
They've got a
that's
pet.
right.
Oh, they've got a poke.
Sorry, I need to capture Michael's stunned face, like caught in the headlights face here.
I have no clue what they're talking
It's
about.
a big good little clip to put on TikTok. So yeah, that's a fun fact for those that are interested in Japanese coinage and Pokemon. There is a crossover there.
You're always good at the off. I didn't tell you that I was going to be showing those coins beforehand. It's always good just the
Get
information.
a live bit of useless information.
Yeah, you pull out of your hat on stuff like that.
Yeah, wow.
I love it. Got a few emails to go through today, so thank you to everyone sending those through to live@bullionnow.com.au. This one's from a reviewer. They say, is there any further information about the Perth Mint producing the 10-ounce silver bar again or the 100-ounce silver bar?
There's no further information on it, but stay tuned. I suspect in the new year we will see at least one, if not both of those sizes coming through in the first part of next year.
Okay, exciting.
I have a question, and the Perth Mint aren't here, so they won't answer. Maybe if they're in the chat, they'll answer.
Can you imagine if, the official Perth Mint account pops up one day?
Perth Mint CEO.
Yeah. Pull your head in, Matt. I don't know if we're allowed to... No, I think we're allowed to say. Rumor has it.
Stand by on the beat button, mate.
Okay, let me maybe phrase it, and then you can say whether or not we're allowed to say. I would like to see, in the Australian market, some 1.5-ounce silver coins. I'm allowed to say that.
You're allowed to say that.
I can say that. Maybe that's all I'll say. It would be cool to see, as you know, everyone knows that I like things that are a little unusual, but a 1.5-ounce coin would be really cool to see.
Why?
It would just...
What's the purpose of it?
Enjoyment.
To be larger than a 1 ounce and smaller than a 2.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head, Ruben.
Because we need more out there, don't we?
Well, and I guess... All right, here's where I'm going with it. Maybe. All right, here's the series. Mother and baby. You do
could see.
You do a 1/2 ounce baby, a 1 ounce mother, or a 1.5 ounce where they're both on the same coin. There you go. You're welcome, Perth.
Yeah, no, that's a winner.
Yeah, something like conceptually where it actually... Because you're right. I want it just because I want it, and I like to be difficult and challenging. But if you did it in a way that was actually...
You should try working with him.
Even harder. But yeah, if you did that, and I'm sure, as we know, the designers at the Perth Mint are very clever. I'm sure there's an opportunity there for them to do it in a way that was really, clever.
I have no doubt they could do it. I can just imagine the whole team going, "Are you kidding me? You want us to retool everything to 1.5 ounce?
Why not?
I
I bet they could do it. If any mint could do it, they're the one for the job.
What about using the design that they do every year for the baby in the 1/2 ounce silver proof Lunar in conjunction with a 1 ounce silver coin? Because they do that as a proof. They do there's the numismatic, the coloured baby series. So they've already got that design. Could you turn that into just a plain old bullion design?
Yeah, of course you could.
And release that alongside that? Because that's, it looks like they've dropped off the mother and baby kind of requirement on the Lunar silver. So you could almost do here's Mama Snake in a 1 ounce, and here's Mama Rock Upper, I suppose, and here's the half ounce, baby.
Trust me, with a snake, you don't stick around to ask.
Very true.
Yeah.
Stephen Bay is claiming responsibility, and you're stealing his idea there, Matt.
I'm stealing ideas.
The 1.5 ounce mother and baby.
Actually, David's correct there. The Holy Dollar and Dump was that a 1.5 or was that a 1 1/4?
Yeah, I thought it was 1 1/4.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a dump, you're not fitting unless it's quite thick. Yeah, I thought that would have been a 1/4.
Yeah, I think it was.
Or even a 1/10.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't that small, was it? It was a bit thicker.
Yeah.
Stuff like that I think is cool. And it's similarly, it actually makes sense. It's not doing it as I originally suggested for the sake of doing it. If you do it and there's actually some intention and meaning behind it, I think there's a bit of an opportunity there.
I think it's a great idea.
Well, there we go. Book it in. Next time we're in Perth, maybe we'll go for the unveiling of that. That'll be our next visit.
Oh, dear. It is Bathurst this weekend.
Hey.
Oh, yeah.
Favourite weekend of the year.
You get into the car racing?
I used to go up there. Even as a teenager, I used to go up there every other year.
Really?
Yeah, but it was pretty wild back then. Like, we used to camp up on the top of the mountain and,
Everyone's dragging their eskies up, getting up to mischief.
Oh, mate, it was a lot worse than that. I can tell you, it was very eye-opening for a very innocent bush pig, I can tell you that much.
Cool.
Interested to know both your thoughts on the launch of the Royal Mint's 2025.
Is this me doing this? Am I causing this to go out of focus?
Probably.
I do move about a bit. Sorry.
The Royal Mint's launch of the 2025 Sovereign Collection. And they've made a couple of adjustments to it this time around, which has got a couple of people talking. They've said from 2026, all gold sovereigns will return to being crafted from yellow gold, which...
As opposed to the purple gold that they normally use.
Well, that's I think it's talking about more of the the copper kind of color to the sovereigns, but I think they're still remaining 22 carats. So I'm not actually sure what they're doing there differently to change.
The sovereigns are still copper, aren't they? Not pure copper.
Yeah. Like that's the alloy.
I am also reading the headlines here, so there might be something I'm missing on that. So they call the current one rose gold, but rose gold is just a different combination of metals in the beyond.
I think they're still copper.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they are as well. So basically, you're telling me they're going back to more of a yellowy gold.
Yes. Yeah. Long story short, in 2026.
I feel like a bit of a nothing story.
Well,
or is this just an excuse because they can't get their...
There's a copper shortage.
No, I was more meaning like, they're going for the frosted finish on their silver coins because they seem to have a white spot issue.
It's a bit of a safety net.
There you go. Copper in it makes it rose gold. Silver in it makes it the more yellow color. So even though they're saying we'll be using yellow gold, in reality it's an increase in silver to get it to that color.
I mean, you can use a few things to make it go. The jewelers all have.
Yeah. It's just a different combination of metals, basically, but they'll remaining 22 carat. The other addition to this series, which will be a first, is this, the Silver Sovereign.
That's not...
see, I feel like really a first.
Yeah, it's not really a first. Yeah, because I saw that and they were banging on as well.
They are banging on about its being...
They did a...
They did a
20-pound silver. Let
me read their description of it. For the first time in the Sovereign's history, the Royal Mint will produce a silver sovereign.
Turn it up. Yeah, I'm thinking they're pulling our leg a little there. Yeah.
So there you go.
Bit of marketing spin. A for effort, but I think that's a bit of a wind up. And I saw some pricing.
Well, I think it's proof and the like, so it's going to be...
the one I'm thinking of. You're looking at well up over $100 for 8 grams of silver. And I'm a guy who's... I get excited by proofs and what have you, but that was a bit of a stretch even for me to get my head around. I think once they end up in Australia, they're going to be up over 150 Australian dollars for what it is. And I think they're doing quite a few of them. It might be like 50,000 or something. So it's not going to be a, you can't lean on it's an ultra low mintage, so get into it.
See, they don't incur VAT, I think, in the UK, do they? Because they're a... I've got the term wrong, so all the Poms are going to get upset with me.
I was going to say we'll have to go back to our interview with Backyard Bullion because we talked about some of this.
I'm pretty sure they don't... because silver normally in the UK incurs VAT, but I think because it's... somebody please help me here in the chat. It's
James Howard, we're calling on you, mate.
He'll be here in half an hour once it hits 2:30.
No, he's there. He said
good.
from the very start that it's 3:30 for with the change.
MP, you're right. VAT is normally on silver, but because it's something currency-ish, and I don't know. I should know, but I don't actually know what the legislation is. But because it comes under the Queen's, no, that'd be wrong now because it's the Royal something or other, it doesn't incur GST. So somebody in the chat, one of the Poms, will actually know what I'm talking about, but I'm pretty sure it does not incur VAT in the UK because of that.
Well, you've made a pea soup of it, and I still don't know the answer. So that's good. That's a start. So hopefully someone can clarify in the chat.
Yeah.
And they will be 3 nines fine silver, they say, as well, just for...
Look, I look forward to seeing it, but... I don't know. I'll tell you what I did like when they did the 2 ounce throwback to the original 1817 design.
Yep.
That was really cool with the edge lettering and whatnot. I like something like that. This just feels a little meh.
Fair enough.
It's my professional opinion on it.
Meh. Is that the technical term?
Man, a few words.
You?
Yeah, I know. Quick, move on before I get started.
We've got someone that shared their strategy for buying bullion. They say, I collect empty bottles, cans and containers and get 10 cents back from each of them in New South Wales. Currently, I need 1,270 containers to buy a gram of gold. With so many containers, cans and bottles available, it is easy to build up an unallocated balance. Food for thought.
Silver Dragon started out like that. When I did that. Geez, we're going back to the dark ages of BN YouTube. But somewhere on this channel, there's an interview that I did with him, and he's quite well known. He's got many hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and I didn't know that about him. That's exactly how he started his stacking journey. So I think that's really clever of people to, if you don't have access to, what's the expression? Disposable income, create it. So that's a great example of a guy just sort of figuring it out himself.
One of the guys that's sometimes in the chat...
E-Waste Ben?
Well, there's E-Waste Ben as well, but there's another guy that goes around and collects, scrap metals, sells them into the scrap metal dealer, and then uses that cash to buy his... his precious metals.
I love Stephen's comment there. It's literally alchemy turning base metals into gold.
Yeah. So it's... I think it's a great way. I'm just trying to think how many bottles would be in a kilo of gold.
Can you crunch those numbers? 10 cents?
Yeah, you can crunch the numbers, but it'll be a hell of a lot. 1.3 million, something like that.
T's followed on with a bit of
13 million.
Yeah.
T's followed on with a bit of an explanation there. All coins produced by the Royal Mint that qualify as British legal currency are exempt from capital gains tax.
Oh, so still incur VAT then. I thought they were VAT exempt on that, but... no capital gains tax. I'm wrong. Yeah, don't listen to the guy from the colonies. What would he know?
You put the little thing down, Ruben, please. This is not financial advice. Yeah, perfect.
That's the one. All right, what else have we got, Rubes?
Would a $790 million purchase of, I'll say silver for now, but in a year, impact the spot price? How much silver... or precious metals
physical
would you have
or a paper contract?
Physical, let's say for now. How much silver would you have to buy to see a rapid...
move the dial.
To move the dial. And this is actually a question from one of the socials. They were asking if that would be enough to shift it up to $50 an ounce.
It's 50 US or 50 Australian, and I'm playing for time here. Well, I think
Let's say 50 Australian. The leader's saying the Hunt brothers already tried this.
Yeah.
It is very similar.
Look, I got to say, I think it actually would move the dial. How much it would move the dial would be interesting.
Yep.
To see what the reaction would be through the industry. I mean, we saw what was that 18 months, 2 years ago which was the metal? It skyrocketed for, it wasn't copper, but it was.
I think there was copper for a while there.
No, it wasn't copper.
Components of like our coinage, like a 20-cent coin. There was rumors.
It was
that
aluminium, wasn't it?
Nickel?
People were saying, you should hold up your 20-cent coins. And
something went absolutely bananas 12, 18 months, 2 years ago.
It was nickel.
Nickel. Yeah, okay, so nickel. And, the market fairly quickly jumped on that and knocked it back into place. Even though it shouldn't have. It was absolutely market manipulation on both sides of the equation. And, the free market wasn't allowed to operate. I suspect a similar thing would happen in silver because I don't think, whether you believe in the conspiracy theory or not, I don't think the markets could accept that out of balance transaction to occur for very long because they would worry it would flow in, like the flow-on effect, the unintended consequences would be just horrific. But I think that an order that size, particularly if it was a physical order that had to be delivered in by X period of time, and particularly if it had to be delivered in a certain way, like that the US Eagle one from the one of the Walmart ARSs, I think it was, that caused quite a bit of consternation for a while there because it had to be delivered as Eagles. Now, it could be delivered over time, so they were lucky for that. But if that had come due or it had a very short delivery period, that would have caused all sorts of other unintended consequences through the industry. So, yeah, look, absolutely, I think that would cause major problems and we would see prices go up. Certainly, we'd see physical price going up, and we don't talk about this enough, I don't think, as an industry, that there are actually two prices out there. There is the physical metal price and there is the paper metal price. Both are called spot, but I can tell you one is very easily manipulated and the other is very much impacted. So we'll see quite often when there's a physical shortage, we will phone a refinery or any of the big mints or anything like that, and you'll say, look, I want to lock away 100 kilos of silver, just for an example. 100 kilos of silver or a ton of silver, and they'll say, spot price is this, we can lock it in at that. Oh, no, you want physical delivery. Oh, no, we're talking physical. Oh, no, the spot price is higher for physical delivery. And we'll see that happen semi-frequently, and this sort of scenario would absolutely cause those sort of flow-on effects.
So in the event, let's play it out a little.
Yeah.
If I went to the Perth Mint and said, I've got 790 mil, not cash, it's not going to be cash, I would like all-in kangaroos. We could possibly extrapolate this to some degree if we were to have an awareness of their daily production capacity, but then you would have to effectively divert all of it to this one order. So I think it's conceivable that the Perth Mint, as the example in this story, could say, hey, the likes of Bullion Now, all our bullion dealers, there's going to be a 3-week halt on production while everything gets diverted to this one order.
Yeah.
And then it could be managed?
No, I actually don't believe it could be managed. I think you're going to find the flow-on effect to be horrendous because
your orders are still banking up.
Yeah, and we're having to take I can't order because we're like sharks. You've got to keep moving and keep eating as a business. Yep. So if I can't order from the mint, if the mint turns around to me and says, and look, this happens on a smaller scale semi-frequently where different mints and organisations will say, well, we can't take orders at the moment because of X reason. It can be supply issues. It can also be machinery issues.
Yep.
We can't take an order. All of a sudden, I'm moving that order to somewhere else. But the trouble is, I'm not the only guy moving my order to somewhere else.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, Perth Mint can't supply, but neither can the US Mint. And then neither can the Canadian Mint. And then because we're all moving our orders around the world to try and hedge our purchases that we need. So all of a sudden there's this mass shortage on a worldwide scale. And it absolutely, the unintended consequences would be huge, which is why I believe the market would jump fairly quickly and try and squash that artificially.
So in that hypothetical, is it conceivable that if I'm the Perth Mint, would I turn the order down?
No, but I'd delay the order.
You just we can do it, but give us 12 months, and we're going to do it. We'll have a third. If they do 2 shifts in a day, we'll add a third one in for just your... Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Or they'll say, what they'd probably also say is, you can't have that as kilo bars. It's all going to be delivered as 1,000-ounce bars, or it's going to be delivered as a whole variety of different things, and it's at our discretion.
What if I said money is no object? I just love kangaroos. They've all got to be kangaroos.
That's fine.
We'll just give us a year.
Oh no! If you're going to go for all kangaroos, you're probably going to wait 5 years on those sort of numbers.
But well, we're getting to the tail end because I realise I'm drawing this out. But would you be locking it? You'd be locking in everything at that point in time.
There's no reason you can't lock in the price, because there's ways Perth Mint and the rest of us hedge. It's exactly that is the exact transaction that happened with this Walmart one. Was they wanted it all as eagles, but they recognised that the delivery would be over. I don't know if it was months or years, but an extended period of time. Yep. And that's exactly what would happen in this case. Perth Mint would take the order. They'd say, look, it's going to take us X amount of time to deliver that. Yep. And then they would go away and they would use their various mechanisms to hedge that spot price so that they weren't exposed over that longer term.
That's cool. That's a very good question. Whoever asked that.
Well, thank you. Because the fact that I've specified 780 million there is it's not actually going to be exactly like we've just described, because this will be spread out over a year. But the reason I was asking that is because Russia is increasing its precious metal reserves in the coming years. And you were asking whether it was physical or paper, and I actually wondered if Russia at the moment would be definitely going for physical because paper is just not something they're looking at entertaining at the moment, given we're not entering into the political discussion, but you still have to be aware of the current political situation that they're in.
But Russia's going to throw an extra complication in there on several levels. One, it's Russia, so they can only deal with a limited number of countries at the moment. But the second is they produce, like, a large proportion of that will be produced within country. So the reserve is there. It's just sitting in the ground. They've got to dig it out. So while they might say I'm making up rubbish now, we're going to increase our reserves by 50 tonne over the next 12 months of gold. You probably find 48 of that tonne is going to come out of their mines anyway. Russia is a little different to Japan doing it, because Japan doesn't have gold mines all over the place. So Japan actually has to source, like if they said we're going to take 50 tonne of gold, they'd actually have to source it from places like Australia and take it from the world market. So that would have far more impact on the world.
Interestingly, it's not just silver as well. They are splitting between palladium, platinum, and silver and gold. So they're getting into palladium and platinum as well.
Bullion Now live streams.
That's right. See? My influence carries all the way to the Kremlin. No, look, I mean, they'd be mad not to, because so many of the new materials involve silver, to a degree gold, but particularly silver, platinum, palladium, and to a degree rhodium. So why wouldn't you stack that? But again, it'll be pulled out of them. A lot of it will be pulled out of their minds.
Well, that instantly negates any of the international deals or problems they've got at the moment. Question from Gaza there. How can I reduce freight to Brisbane? Have you considered a satellite store just for collections of online orders?
Didn't we answer this question last week?
Yeah, I feel like we've done this.
We have
deja vu.
Well, I think we have for different locations.
So the answer is
maybe in Perth last week.
No, look, we absolutely are considering other locations. At the end of the day, the product still has to be shipped, though. So there is still shipping in there. But you're right, we can get better rates when we're shipping, like a tonne to Brisbane rather than 1,000 1 kilo orders. There's economies of scale there. And look, we are absolutely looking into it and different in different ways. I don't think I'm speaking too much out of turn by saying we're actually looking at creating the Bullion Now freight company.
BN Express.
Yeah. I think we've talked about that before.
Yeah, and in fact, if anyone out there is experienced in starting up express freight companies or couriers or anything along those sort of lines, if they want to get in touch with me, I'd love to talk to you, because we need, like, one of the big things holding us back at the moment is actually the actual setting up of the company. We've tried to buy a couple of different transport companies. It hasn't worked. And I think I'm getting to a point where I'm just going to have to bite the bullet and create our own. But that's certainly something that we'd like to look at. So if that's your area of expertise,
cool,
feel free to drop us a message to live, live, at bullionnow.com.au, and we would be very interested in a conversation.
Cool.
Alrighty, we need to say hello to everyone. We need to start up the stream.
Welcome.
An hour has passed.
Friday, we made it.
Yeah. It's been busy. This is the McDuncan there reminded me that it was happening. Yeah, this is now the time that we would be starting had daylight savings not changed everything around.
Yes. So we apologise particularly to our international compatriots.
Yeah.
That we didn't give you a heads up last week, but we went through the east coast of.
I am actually noticing a rise in the numbers since crossing this point, so I think that very well might have been a significant case.
Yeah. So the east coast of Australia went into daylight savings last weekend, and we all moved our clock forward an hour, and we all lost an hour of sleep.
Yep.
Grumble.
Yeah, we've all recovered from that, I think, and we're back online, and so. Yeah, for the next 6 months, you'll have to tune in an hour earlier than you have for the last 6 months to catch the best and most up-to-date news and entertainment in the bullion / aviation / music / Pokemon / whatever other topic crosses. Honestly,
a variety show under the one umbrella of Bullion.
We're very much like that. What's that? I always forget that squirrel off over the hedge. You know,
Hammy.
Hammy. Yeah, we're very much like. And so the goal, look at that.
Speaking of entertainment, I will play it now that McDuncan has actually joined us, because it is him who has provided this game for us. We are going to play a Where's the Bar game. So we have a...
I could do with a scotch at the moment.
No. Okay, where's the silver bar?
Oh, okay.
We've had a history over the last, I want to say year now, maybe even plus, of Bullion Now bags, the ones that we send out with orders most of the time, in different locations around the world.
And there's been some incredibly clever ones.
Some absolutely awesome ones. We did the competition a while ago for, in creative spots. Was absolutely cool. But yeah, McDuncan has provided a few different ones, starting quite zoomed in. So I'm not expecting you to get it off the first image of each of these, but you're going to say, no, that's too zoomed in, I don't get it, and we'll zoom out, and I'll try and leave it long enough so that chat can maybe put in some guesses as well. But let us kick off with number 1. There we go. So we've got...
Where is it? I was going to say, I found the bar. That was a piece of cake.
I was going to say, the bar is not, where is the bar located in the world?
In the world?
Oh,
yes.
Come on, man.
You're telling me you're not getting it from a very close up, zoomed in, I'm
used to looking at things from 40,000 feet. Give me a break.
Right. That's fair enough. All right, I'm going to guess that no one's going to go for it for that, so let us shift it out a bit. Michael spotted something.
Yeah, look, that could be any one of half a dozen different airports. Is it the Qantas Lounge in either Melbourne or Sydney is what I'm going for.
Melbourne's my guess.
It doesn't quite look right. Something's wrong.
The sun's out.
Yeah, that could be right.
It's not grey out there. For those of you unsure, Michael's spotting the red tail, the Qantas there, logo. Let me zoom out one more and see if that one helps you.
Yeah, I'm sure it's in the lounge.
That is Sydney Airport.
It is Sydney. Is it the lounge?
I'm guessing so. All I was told was Sydney Airport, but I'm gonna guess so.
Doing a mat, I need the water today.
Yeah, it's good. Good for you. It builds character.
All right, that was number 1. Let's move on to number 2. I'll give you a hint. We're going a little bit more international. Where this was the stage 1.
Phillip Island.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Number 1.
UK. I've seen that rock before.
You remember it well.
Good on you.
Any initial guesses, Michael? Again, I'm filling in time a little bit here just so that chat can, because it'd be interesting to see how fast chat can get it as well. Ooh, Drew Money's got one in. Let's go to number 2.
It's certainly looking very hilly, isn't it? Peru?
Yeah. What do they call that place?
The Andes.
Machu Picchu.
Number 3. It is indeed.
Oh, nice.
I love that shot. That is an absolutely awesome
very
photo.
cool
And if you
shot.
look just down there on the bottom, there's this little Bullion Now bag and
Who
bar.
on earth has sent that in?
That was McDuncan.
Seriously?
Yep.
Mate.
Unreal. Been living it up.
So
I'd love to
into
get up.
the-
I've never really explored that part of the world. I'd love to.
looks stunning.
Imagine doing a stream from there.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
Have
And
to take oxygen with
Yeah, I
us.
was going to say the altitude's a bit of an issue.
nice pick on that one. Nice and early there, Drew. That was good. All right, lucky last one. I reckon we'll get this one on number 2. There we go. Again, not much you can identify on
London.
that. Yeah, that's 2 UK guesses in a row. There you
I've
go.
pretty much got one here and I'm sticking to it.
All right. Like I said,
Oh, it's
I
a
reckon
boat. It's a ship. It's a ship. No.
I got no hope. Let's zoom out.
New
Yeah,
York.
I'm meant to know this.
No, that's Vegas. Is it? Is that? Am I wrong?
Is this Berlin? No, that's an American car.
Those palm trees. Isn't that big Vegas energy? Ruben's giving me donuts, so I'm just going to keep saying Vegas until I get an
Well,
answer.
everyone else is saying Vegas
Oh.
too. Ah, that's the Eiffel Tower.
it is
It is
indeed.
Sweet
You
Paris.
sure that's not Vegas?
It is
Surely
indeed.
they got one of those there.
It is indeed Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Very, very cool. Thank you so much for that little journey around the world, McDuncan. It was,
Yeah.
I love seeing, the weird and wonderful places our products and our bags end up. So
That must be fascinating as a local.
what's
Seeing
this
some
guy
guy
doing?
you saying, "Oh, he's taking a tourist photo." Wait, no, he's put this little felt bag down. He's getting that perfectly in shot. That's very good.
Dear. Good fun.
Yeah, London
Trams.
was last year. There was one.
Trams.
located.
Trams have silver in them.
Really?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no, you're
Something
fine.
that came to me while we were talking.
Well, that's interesting.
Because one of our suppliers, although we haven't dealt with him for a while, his other part of the casting is actually making spare parts for,
Really?
I don't know what Melbourne Trams is called this week, but, Yarra Trams out here
Yeah.
or whatever it's called. It casts silver into certain things for use on the
What?
trams and the trains. There you go.
That's very cool.
Useless piece of information that just struck
My
me while we
favourite kind of information.
Again, you two, when you're just on, just facts coming to you.
Yeah,
It's,
you
it's
can't
always
plan
brilliant.
this kind of content.
It's good. There is another topic that we have to be, I think, dicey about how we approach, but it's still interesting, I think, to talk about and
Head on. That's how we'll approach it.
yeah, and look at, and it's the fact that Israel, and again, we're being careful about this, but the Prime Minister of Israel has initiated discussions on measures to limit the circulation of black market currency and curb illegal activities, this article says. The proposed plan includes restricting private ownership of large amounts of cash alternatives like gold, silver, and coins, as well as potentially phasing out their larger banknotes.
I really would have thought the Israelis had enough on their plate at the moment without worrying about this side of it.
Yeah, gee.
I don't actually know what is considered like large amounts in this case, and therefore what's where they're drawing that line.
Yeah,
but
like what percentage of people are going to be impacted by that?
Yeah.
Is it
But-
a fraction
So
of a
are
percent?
they looking
or-
at banning gold and silver ownership or
yes, yeah,
full stop?
I believe above certain amounts you will not be able to own it. I'm quickly
Is
seeing
this
here
like
to
the
see if I
old,
can find.
US one where you can have it in jewelry form, or if it has numismatic value? Is it going to be, like Swiss cheese full of loopholes? People are going to, put it into a bracelet and say, well,
Yeah.
jewelry.
Hang their tail on their shoelace.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
I think because it says initiating discussions, I don't think anything's set in
So
stone
it's
yet.
early days. We're on
It
the
is.
whiteboard here.
It is, but we were talking about was it the Netherlands last week, and restrictions on cash. I think this one even more so relates to precious metals because it's specifically talking about them. But I think this is the kind of thing that is important to look at what's going on around the world, and I don't want to say this to feed the concerns that people have, because we really don't like to fearmonger or kind of have people worry about this
We're
stuff.
not going clickbaity.
No, but at the same time, this is something that people are worried about actually happening. We get plenty of people through the store saying, is this going to happen one day? Would the government ever do this or that? And it's a question we can't really answer, but I think it's important to look at places around the world that are actually implementing some of these things. I'd say a while ago we saw step one in Turkey, where the government was requesting its citizens to sell its gold back to the government. Now we've seen this, and it's just I like pulling these things away, from different places just to be aware of them, even if we're not calling you to action to do anything because of this information.
Look, I think it's at this stage it's a storm in a teacup. I think it's massively. Like I said, I said it a little bit tongue in cheek, but I think they've got enough on their plate. I don't think they're going to be stressed about this at the moment. But I think it's something that all governments are considering. And they seem to be going one way or another. Some governments, so I hark back to the conversation with Michael over in Germany, where he was talking about the Austrian government were encouraging people to take currency and precious metals in their own hands and bring it into their own houses in case the world went pear-shaped. And obviously you've got places like Russia and China that are encouraging their citizens to actually stack precious metals and things like that. And then you've got the other extreme where you've got countries, in this example Israel, but different countries around the world that are seeing the governments are being threatened by their citizens owning precious metals and having that degree of independence and self-sustainability and that type of stuff. So I think it's take out the fact that it's Israel at this stage, because that really is a bit of a stick of dynamite at the moment. But if you look at world governments, it's not a good sign, and it seems to be that split down the middle at the moment, where governments are either encouraging their citizens to be more independent or discouraging, in this example, from being more independent and being able to stand on their own 2 feet. And they seem to blame, like the easy one, and we see again, I'm trying not to get political here, but you see this very much in the Australian government PR machine, where they point to the popularist thing. Oh, it's the black market. It's those bad guys. It's those, and rather than saying this is going to impact all the citizens, and we seem to, Goat, it's an issue on our end. We apologise for that.
It's a loose cable somewhere, I think.
But instead of actually coming out and saying this is going to impact all citizens, they point to this big bad boogeyman in the corner, and not funnily enough, unfortunately, we all seem to be that gullible that we go, it's about the black market, rather than going, hang on a sec, this is going to impact us. It's about us. It's about us being able to take control of our own financial futures. And so that's what I find more worrying about this whole discussion.
Absolutely. I mean, the reason they're citing in this case, obviously, black market, but the reason that they're supposedly doing it is to increase their tax revenues by 24 to 31 billion by 2030, and essentially, having that
really. Really, you couldn't come up with something much more simple to raise your tax revenue by. I mean, we're talking 20 million, 30 million. I mean, on a government
billion.
Oh, billion. That was with a B, not an N.
Yeah, sorry, okay. So it's a little bit more. Misspoke, but it should have been a B.
Pocket change.
Yeah.
Well, we're spending $1 million a day.
Well, I mean, this is it. Victorian government could save. No, it's $1 million an hour.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it was even worse than that.
28 million a day that we're paying in interest in the Victorian. Well, we soon will be paying. We're not quite paying that yet, but it's not far off. But we're soon going to be paying that on a daily basis on interest alone. Like, you want to save some money, start paying your flaming debts back. This is... Yeah, again, they're pointing to the boogeyman because they're... this is me going down the rabbit hole, and I apologise because we try not to do that on this channel. But, this is very much government overreach. This is very much taking your freedoms away from you. This is what this is the way, unfortunately, a lot of Western societies are going now. We talk about the good old days, and I hate it when my parents used to do that, and I'm finding myself doing it with my kids now. And there's a lot of things that weren't good in the good old days, but we had a lot more freedoms back in the good old days.
I think the big danger with gold and silver in this country as well, we've spoken about before, that we don't have a culture of stacking in this country, and I think that makes it even more dangerous if something like this was to happen. You were talking about how they're essentially blaming a smaller group of people. It's like, in this case, it's the black market. I honestly think if they were to come out and talk about the banning of gold and silver in this country, it is so far removed from the general populace that they go, oh yeah, cool. I didn't even realize you could still buy that, or because we don't have that understanding, I don't think it would be considered as big of a deal as it probably would need to be given. And that's Let's move on to the other wooden box that is boxes that are sitting there.
Yeah.
We've been having people ask about those at the start. I don't know what your plan is with these.
It wasn't my plan, it was Matt's.
Well, it wasn't mine, it was Brett's, because he got upset when I was going to leave them in the shop. And so I said, well, I'll take them on the stream, and they will be on the stream. So here they are.
We can do a highlight, but
I guess it's a highlight. I don't know what it is, because I'm assuming the skews don't exist. These. Okay, so I'll preface this segment with these are not currently available on the website.
No, because the skew that you had up was charging twice what it should have.
So it's just a show and tell. That's what it is. There you go.
I think it's an interesting thing that Perth Mint don't do anymore.
Yeah.
In fact, none of the... Can you think of any mint around the world that is producing a platinum collection?
A fractional set?
Yeah.
No, none come to mind. And similarly, this is a great example of an issue that I raise relentlessly, which is packaging, the presentation component of packaging of coins. And this is from a period when it was very cool. And things that seemed to be, there was an extra level of, not even detail, but just the emphasis on the outer package was so much more. It wasn't just, here's the coin with a nice design and out it goes. It was, okay, well, let's sit down and work out a way to make this really presentable and turn it into what, precious metals are. So it's housed as though it is something precious that you're going to hold on to and cherish. And I think we don't see enough of that anymore.
It's not a recyclable
box. Exactly. Look, I wasn't going to go there, but that's a sore point for me.
Yeah. That's enough talking. Let's
Without further ado, these are some fractional... there goes the magnet. So the magnets leave a little to be desired on occasion, but...
It comes with a tester, like an XRF.
Yeah, you can drop your magnet on it, see if it slides down. But these are platinum sets. Am I moving, or is the camera... I thought I was going to fall off my chair just now.
It's getting vertigo.
So you've got a total of 1.9 ounces of platinum in these sets. So in the center, you have a 1 ounce, flanked by a 1/2 ounce and a 1/4 ounce. And then moving further out, you have a 1/10 and a 1/20 ounce. And that plaque in the top on your screen, right-hand corner, is actually silver. So if you get a set like this and you've just paid for platinum, you get a little bit of bonus silver for your troubles. Now, this one's gone black. Ordinarily, not ordinarily. I'd say that's probably more the norm.
Yeah, that's norm.
I did see one today when a gentleman was looking at these that was still fully silver in appearance as well. So it was just nice. And I think, again, a cool period of time where not only was the presentation pretty schmick with the... it says on the back, it's Australian Jarrah that they've used for the packaging. So they've used Australian materials, and even the, I guess you'd say, the decorative plaque with the number on it is made of silver as well. So it just felt like things were done...
properly.
Yeah, to a different standard, and with the intention that this is the type of thing that in years to come, you'll pull out of the safe or wherever you've got it stored and have a look at it and just appreciate it for not only what it is as precious metal, but it's presented in a way that's fitting, I guess you could say.
Yeah. And then they weren't all full sets. Like that's 1.9 ounces, as Matt just said. I think this one's a 1/2 ounce, although I don't have my glasses on, so I may stand corrected. But it's a much smaller set, but still, it has the Jarrah box in it and the plaque, which has gone black as well. But, you've got the koala there. And harken back to near the start of the stream, that 80s design where, it's very simplistic, I suppose, and not as fancy and schmick as the newer ones are. But I actually quite like these. I think these are fantastic.
Yeah.
And comes in, the Jarrah box with and it's actually fitted. This is going to sound really silly. It's actually fitted correctly. Like if you can see they're edged. So there's an angle on the. I can't see
lid?
what I'm doing here. Angle on the lid. So it's cut at an angle. So when you slide it in, it can't just slide straight out. It's actually fitted correctly. So the set looks great. We're not selling these, by the way. We're just, my hand's shaking.
Just show and tell, yeah.
And then they did things like, you might know more about this one because you were pulling it apart before. But
I was spinning out over it. So I thought this was quite interesting. And maybe this is something we can look to work, probably a knowledge point to learn about how many coins are out there that say something, but the image on it is completely unrelated. So you've got the Sydney Opera House with a ballerina out front, but it says koala on the coin. So it's a 1 ounce platinum koala coin with no koala to be seen.
But it's like the set is a koala set. Like all the other coins are koalas in it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the 80s version of a mint mark.
Yeah, you're right. But I don't know. It's a strange one. Unless I'm just thinking if there was some kind of, like Swan Lake, geez, there's an opportunity. Swan River, so on. Anyway, if there was some sort of tie-in with the koala to the ballerina or something, maybe. But just that seems odd to me.
It's a little random, isn't it?
Yeah, it's left me feeling a little lopsided. It stressed me out for the day.
It may be that it was done in celebration of something, the anniversary of the Sydney Harbour.
Yeah, it was. 1973 was the opening of the Opera House, and this is 2003. So it's the 40th. 70, 80, 90, 30th. You are absolutely right. Quick math.
Don't let Matt on the cash handling here. Count your change.
To get help in the shop earlier today.
The people are crying for an auction on them, Michael.
We're not organised for an auction. We could probably auction them next week.
I sort of do have to apologise. Like I said, there was no game plan here.
They were literally, Matt had to get them out of the shop, so we carried them in here.
They were in my hand when I was walking over late. It was 2:31 and I was on my way. I couldn't detour.
Yeah.
But just, I don't know, something fun to see. And I don't, if anyone in the chat is like me, I like just seeing this kind of thing. I like seeing, it sort of paints a bit more of the picture when we talk about, the older style of Perth Mint production or presentation packaging. I think it's cool that we can highlight and show you these sort of things rather than just talk about it and have you imagine.
Peter Vic's actually right. And I've the small amount of research I've done into it shows his point that some, like wood and metal, sometimes don't mix. So that's where you get that. And that's why the silver is usually black. It's because I don't know if it's the wood itself or what they treat the wood with, but that actually, like that combination, it could be the felt in there as well. That combination is what drives that those silver things to go black.
I quite like that though, that there are tangible examples of trial and error from the mints. I think sometimes people get the idea, maybe not so much with the Royal Australian Mint with all their mistakes, but with say the Perth Mint, that they're sort of infallible, because and particularly going to the facility and you see the standards that, conceivably most mints are operating at, and you think, oh, surely you've got all these engineers, all these experts, all these, metallurgists and what have you floating around. Surely you're not going to put it in something that's going to offset all of that hard work by toning in a couple of years, but you've got to figure it out somehow.
Sometimes the only way you can work out if this is going to impact it in 10 years is to do it and then wait 10 years.
Cross your fingers.
And then hope someone else is in that position in 10 years and it's not your problem.
Well, we started off this conversation quite a bit earlier about the square capsules from Perth Mint.
Yeah.
They didn't know that they weren't airtight enough to stop the toning.
Yep.
It was only after several years that somebody went, crap, look at the older one.
Yep.
We better change these to a more airtight container.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, there was a question that came through on Facebook. It says, is it safe to store silver in PVC? Plastics with
Short
PVC.
term, but they also use PVC packaging on, I've said this before, on old vinyl records, the old sleeves, and you'll see that in time they begin to firm up a bit and get a bit of a wave type appearance in them. And over time that can start to deteriorate and break down a bit and can seep onto your coins, or in that example onto your vinyl record sleeve. And as a result, you end up with this real, it's not brittle, it's quite hard, it sort of firms up again over time, and it can get that sort of awful green gunk on your coins. So if in the very short term, it's not really a big deal. And I also suspect, this is a bit of a rabbit hole, I don't have this on good authority, but I suspect some old Australia Post PNCs, the old dust covers, are PVC plastic. So you get some of those that are quite, they have those characteristics of the waves in them and they've gone hard. But the long and short of it is steer clear of it if you're storing valuable things or if you want to preserve the appearance of it. But if you're not really fussed, and there are plenty of instances where I've seen things stored in PVC flips that have been pretty well fine. It's not a guaranteed write-off, but...
Then you get those older, like the RAM uncirculated sets.
Oh, yeah. And the ones, and some of those are like 1989. It's fully yellow. People say, are these gold coins? And I have to say, no, the plastic is gone completely yellow. It was a real, again,
a shocker, wasn't it?
It was a trial and error period for them.
Yeah.
We need to start winding up, but there's one more thing I wanted to quickly ask you about.
All the time.
Yeah.
Just settling in.
Someone sent us through this on Instagram and wanted to know if we needed to be concerned or not. It was talking about the disinformation bill that the Australian government's put through. One of the things that they are saying that they're wanting to limit and potentially fine or ban or whatever for says imminent harm to the Australian economy, including harm to public confidence in the banking system or financial markets.
It's a little interesting, this one, isn't it?
Do we now have to very much... I mean, we already... there are some lines we have to be careful about walking anyway. Is any talk of bullion potentially crossing that?
Oh, I think you're drawing a fairly long bow to say that. Look, we need confidence in the banking system. We need confidence in the Australian dollar. If we all know that there is nothing backing an Australian $20 note, physically backing. The only thing that's actually backing it is the agreement or the government telling us that it's worth $20, and the fact that Matt and I agree that this piece of plastic nowadays equates to $20 of value. If I've got a $20 note and Matt doesn't recognise its value, then it's not actually worth anything. So we need that confidence in the system, otherwise the system collapses. So there is a large part of there is a large argument for this to be a sensible part of legislation. However, if this is taken too far, which governments would never do, let's be honest. Insert sarcasm emoji here.
I have laughing.
Oh,
there we go. That's my first time trying a sound effect.
Yeah, so if it's kept within check, it's actually sensible. It's when they do start saying, "Oh, hang on a sec, you're talking about gold. You're obviously trying to usurp the banking system and take over the Australian government." That's where it starts to get ridiculous, and we've all seen it happen. A la, we're Victorian and we went through COVID.
Yep.
I think we need to draw it to a close there after some rapid-fire questions. So if there's a question that you had on the end of your tongue that you haven't been able to ask all stream, we will try to hit as many questions as we can rapid-fire to cover off all of them, basically.
While we're starting to get organised with some questions, I really want people to pay attention to inflation over the coming months. Everyone's talking about inflation coming down and interest rates coming down. We are starting to see signs both now in the media after last night. Before last night, I was saying we're not seeing any sign of it in the media. we're starting to see an uptick in inflation, and things like shipping containers have gone up 500% and things like that, which are core to our... I mean, even though we're a fairly self-sufficient country, we import a lot. And when shipping containers move from $2,000 for a shipping container to $10,000 US for a shipping container, it's going to start impacting on a lot of stuff. So,
Michael, we're falling behind.
Sorry, I just want to flag that because that is something that has potential in the run out. We're all expecting interest rates to drop. If this inflation does actually grab hold, you might get a little bit of a surprise there.
Andrew and Kat say, can you start the live auctions up again with old bars so that they can start ticking off purchases in the Australian poured ingots book?
No, I think that's a great idea. We should do that.
Next upcoming releases, what do we got?
Oh, I have no clue. I'm sorry, I can't think of any off the top of my head. We've got a few internal ones. There's some 2025 stuff coming through as well from the internationals.
Yep.
Over the next week or two. So stand by over the next week or two. There's a bit of stuff coming through.
Does anyone make a kilo platinum like gold or silver?
Pam.
Yeah.
Favorite whiskey, Michael?
Oh, I haven't drunk enough whiskies to actually give a decent answer on that.
You know, Perth Mint did a coin with a bit of
Yes.
rare whiskey in
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
Maybe we should get one of those and sample it. See what we think. I think it's only a drop. It's not much.
Yeah.
Are we going to assemble any more Lego sets soon that the Metal Inquisitor sent in and
we
included
should
the
do.
unboxing of?
Need to
Tap
take
into all that free time you've got,
Yeah,
Michael.
that's the one.
Chev or Ford,
Ford.
Michael?
That's easy.
Would you pick gold or silver to invest in? This is not financial advice.
I would go gold. And I know you're going to
I
argue
would go
with me.
silver.
Yeah,
Job
that's
done.
right.
You've covered all bases.
Do we have any gold mice in buybacks?
There's some silver ones. I don't think there's any gold at the moment.
No, gold's pretty light on. There were some Brits, some 1/10 Brits. If anyone's coming in tomorrow morning, you could be in luck.
Could be.
Yeah, I'd say they're already
There
gone.
are no
mate.
guarantees.
Yeah, I was going to say we've been sitting here talking for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Sovereign or quarter ounce gold coin?
Sovereign.
It depends. Investment, I'd go quarter ounce, I'm afraid. Because
Nah.
the GST issue.
Oh, whatever. Yeah, live a little.
Oh, look, I've got sovereigns.
Yeah, good.
I like sovereign. Like if you're talking about emotionally, I would buy a sovereign pretty
Yeah.
much every single time.
Yeah.
Are we getting any gold Libertads?
Not this week.
What dollar about of stock? What dollar of any stock, I guess, would you hold at any one time?
What are we talking here?
I guess any stocks. Is there a max you'd put? I don't know.
Are we talking shares or are
Yeah.
we talking gold stock or are we talking...
Clarification.
Yeah.
Silver $50 USD before the end of the year. I'm going to put a question mark on the end of that.
Yeah, I don't believe so, but I've been wrong so many times.
Any Smithy's bullion?
I have some in at the moment somewhere.
On your desk, probably.
Probably on my desk.
Did Bullion Now buy that last Qantas freight plane that was sold?
Like, as much as I love Qantas, I wouldn't be buying their second-hand aircraft because they work them hard.
Michael, has the Australian dollar been pinned to the US dollar? Because as America prints money, it is dragging us down with them fanning inflation.
We are not currently pinned to the US dollar, but our economy is very dependent on the US economy. So, as they say, America sneezes and Australia catches a cold.
Is the live chat back on the web? Canberra Stacker saw it appear for a bit there.
It should be. But I think it's a little part-time at the moment. We're still kind of feeling our way back in.
And the clarification on that one from earlier was bullion.
How much bullion? More than I'm going to admit to online.
Yeah. Okay. What dollar amount of stock? Okay, for us as a business, right? I'm with it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
And that's the bottom of the questions list.
Cool.
We made it to the bottom. I normally put that as the we made it to the end.
Big success.
Thank you very, very much for joining us. We apologise that some places we started an hour earlier.
Yeah.
But that will be the way it moves for the next 6 months or so. And yes, I probably upset all of the Queensland state when I said the eastern states of Australia because Queensland doesn't believe in daylight savings. Apparently, it fades the curtains up there and the cows get confused. So they don't do it up there. Thank you, Matt and Ruben, for joining us yet again. We will be back. Matt will not be with us next week.
No, won't. Yeah,
Where are you going to be,
up
mate?
in Sydney town, just hanging out at the Opera House.
For what reason?
For the Money Expo at the Hurstville Entertainment Centre. So coins on coins. The Royal Australian Mint will even be there. So
Excellent.
I'll probably have to go up, hat in hand, apologise for some of my comments on live streams. But it should be a hoot. It should be a lot of fun.
Yes. Sounds good.
Yeah.
So you won't be with us next week?
I'll do something. Like I did one time, Ruben. I'll try and... I
Oh,
always
some
set
videos or
out to
something?
do this. Yeah, I'll try and
Yeah.
film some sort of touching of base. I'll give you an update onto... You'll see me... I'll film myself in the fetal position in the corner of the room because it's a new venue. It's going to be a circus. I'm looking forward to it, though.
Fun
I
and
guess.
games.
You need to take a BN bag with you and
Yeah,
take
put
a
it
photo of you
somewhere
somewhere with
clever.
it.
Yeah.
Hanging off the top of the I don't know, somewhere.
Yeah,
Be all
sounds good.
So Matt won't be back next week, but the rest of us will, and we'll probably invite a special guest in to not fill his seat, but to keep it warm while he's there.
Perfect.
Someone suggested that we get Alex in and have the four of us on for a stream at some stage.
Yeah, have you got enough microphones for that?
Yeah, we'll make do.
You can barely contain this into an hour and a half. It might be a super stream.
Yeah, we got to do those from time to time.
Sounds good. Alrighty, we will be back that hour early or same time for the rest of us next week for more fun and games in the bullion industry. We will see you very, very soon. Stay safe.
See ya.
See ya.